Oh boy, you have no idea. And Brandon
Carol
said,
literally came
"Whoa!"
running in.
I think I may have gotten one of those darn intersection tickets too.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, no, I got through. I think on the yellow light.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. But then I'm told, we're on Facebook. Oh my goodness! I mean, really?
Well, we're not on right now.
Oh,
We're good.
good, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Moon said I could give you the option, so we're good. We're not on yet.
Oh, thank goodness, because you know where I just came from.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a doodling class, as Moon calls it. That's what he calls it.
I'm going to get him. I'm telling you. He has no clue what we do in that class. But I want to tell you something. This is a personal note to the ladies.
Uh-huh.
If your husbands will not dance with you, then you need a Zumba class to work it out. Anyway, I am so glad to be with you all on this Friday morning. Moon had to, I think he's doing some parent stuff today.
Yes, he is with his son.
Let me tell you something. I am so impressed. He and Tanya, they really are devoted parents. They're the best. If all parents were like that, wouldn't have any problems in this world with those kids. Anyway, yeah, they're for Walker today, which is really nice, taking care of things, family things. And it's my pleasure to be with you on this Friday morning. Oh, it's a beautiful day. We haven't had a chance to talk since the election. Have you wiped a smile off your face yet? It's really been hard for me too, I'll tell you that. And we'd love to talk about it with you. 844-766-6607. 844-7-MOON-07. We'd love to hear from you. I had an interesting... went to an interesting party last night. It was the Trump volunteers all got together at a local restaurant and drank a few margaritas and had some good food and celebrated. You talk about some happy people. When I tell you happy people, they're feeling a weight lifted off their shoulders because everybody was so worried about what would happen if the other side won. So, and of course, we're still seeing those protests, the Rent-A-Mob, the Rent-A-Kids. I understand they were advertising on Craigslist in Philly, my home area, that they were going to pay them a good amount. Well, I remember they did the same thing when they did the Rent-A-Mobs for Occupy Wall Street. Remember that? They were advertising for protesters on Craigslist. Well, you know, some of those kids who have their degrees in art history and gender studies and can't get a job, well, I guess this is as good a way as any for them to make some money. But it was a nice party last night. I was very happy to be invited. And, of course, everybody was talking about the upcoming runoffs between Treasurer Kennedy, John Kennedy, and Foster Campbell, as Moon lovingly calls him, Bananas Foster. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. But I think most of us are feeling pretty good. But we cannot let it down, right? Cannot let it down. Got to get out there and vote. Otherwise, what's the point? So we need to continue our motivation to get another Republican in Congress, to give these folks a mandate to finally get some things done. No excuses now. Can't hide behind, Barack Obama's in the White House and he'll veto everything we do. No, no, no. None of that. Don't want to hear any of that. The name is no. The number is no. The sign is no, as Megan Trainor says. We have a song maybe later in the show for all the snowflakes who are having a hard time dealing with the election. But anyway, so let's not let down our guard. As Lady Macbeth might say, gird your loins, screw your courage to the sticking place, get out to vote, and let's finish this job. Now, we got an interesting thing in the 3rd Congressional District, too, and we may have something to say about that in just a little bit. But I believe we have, who's that, Annie? Annie in Lafayette. Annie, you're on the Moon Griffon show. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much. I tried to get through yesterday, never could. I had a comment about the woman who was so disgusted and everything because Trump won the election.
Oh, well.
And I would like to, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I would like to remind her that she lives in a land of opportunity. She needs to get a grip. She needs to be thankful that she lives in America and not in one of the Middle Eastern countries where she has absolutely no rights, where she is a man's chattel and has to do precisely what he wants. She really needs to say a prayer of thanksgiving.
Annie, I'm with you there. You're absolutely right.
Okay, have one.
Thank you, Annie, for calling in. That puts it in perspective, really. I mean, we may fuss and fight and have different opinions and be of a different lifestyle, and that's okay. That's what this country is about. That's why we're a republic and not a pure democracy. Pure democracy is closer to mob rule. No, we have a republic to respect and protect the rights of minorities, of people who are different and maybe just aren't exactly like us. But look, we have so many freedoms in this country. We are so blessed, so many ways. Annie, thanks for that wonderful comment. We got Rachel in Shreveport. Rachel, go ahead. You're on the Moon Griffon show.
Okay, hi. So I am a gay female, and I have been in the military for 18 years.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you for your service.
But before that, I am a mother and a wife and an American, and I was terrified of Hillary taking office. And I just think there are more of us out here that maybe I wasn't as vocal to say that I was a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Great.
And
I tell you the truth. I think Trump is going to maybe set a new tone for the Republican Party, and I hope he does. I hope it becomes more pragmatic and more focused on what the people need rather than playing for the insiders and ignoring us, the rest of us out here.
Absolutely. And just one thing, I think, and I might make some enemies here, but I wish the Republican Party would get away from the social issues. I voted for, and I've always voted Republican for economy, my family.
Yes.
And obviously I'm in the military. All those other issues, although they are a concern to me, they're not my defining issue.
Exactly. And really, that's why, you're just making my point. That's why we have a republic, to respect the rights of all people, even those we don't agree with. We have a First Amendment to protect the nasty speech as well as the pretty speech, the stuff we agree with. That's why we have a First Amendment. Rachel, I really appreciate you calling in because you have provided a different, and a lot of people didn't. I think that's why those polls got it all wrong. A lot of people like you who just did not want to say. And
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Thanks for your service so much. Another perspective. We are all kinds of people in this country, and we may not agree, but boy, we do it lovingly. We disagree lovingly.
Thank you for pointing out what we are as a republic and not a democracy.
Yeah.
I get to, even when our national leaders get up there and call us a democracy, we're not a democracy.
No, they forget. Most of them, they need a course in American History 101 and Economics 101 because most of them are totally stupid about that, too. Witness our $20 trillion debt.
There you go.
Right? Okay, Larry in Colfax. Larry, go ahead. You're on the Moon Griffon show.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Larry. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I haven't been able to wipe that smile off my face.
Well, I want to tell about a recent experience I've had in the last couple of days.
Go ahead.
A group of us went down to Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser's office to get some advice and directions on how to promote our parish. And I'm going to tell you, we was greeted with open arms. Those people were so polite. They was nice, courteous. They were sincere and enthusiastic. And they sat down at the table with us, and it wound up about an hour and a half. And Mr. Billy came in, and we got to spend about 35 minutes with him. And I'm telling you, I can't not heap enough praise on the way we were treated and the sincerity and professionalism of his staff. And I'm telling you, I told the other two people that I said, y'all come home. I'm going to sit down here with these people.
It is refreshing, isn't it, when a public official really understands his role, and that is to serve the public. And I've always had very high opinion of Mr. Nungesser. I've been in several forums with him when he spoke, and he is a real people person, and that's
what
refreshing.
You about.
Yeah.
He came in there. We were early, and so they went on and got the people we need to meet with, other than Mr. Nungesser. He came in right on cue, had them sleeves and tie pulled down the tie thrown over his shoulder and them sleeves up. And said,
he was working.
Okay, what we need to work.
Larry,
I mean, he was wide open.
That is so good to hear. Thanks so much for sharing with us. You hear the music. We got to take a hard break here. But if you want to get in on the action on the Moon Griffon Show, I'm Carol Ross. It's my great pleasure to be with you today. The Hickson Hazard Hotline is warming up for you. 844-766-6607. Stay with us. Got lots more on the Moon Griffon Show. Oh, well, at least we're up to the 90s, huh? On the bumper music.
I'll put that one in just for you.
Thank you so much. You know, I told you about that party I was at last night. I was good. Just had one margarita. Confession here. And there were a lot of happy people. It was celebrating the Trump win. It was a lot of Trump volunteers there, and they're just delighted. This is what the left will never understand. These are folks who accept all sorts of people. They're not racist. They're not homophobic. They're not nasty people. They're good people. They're hardworking people, and they have seen their wealth and the fruits of their labor eroded over the last 8 years by this administration, and they want to change. And so that's the message we've been sending. And now we have a chance to send another message. So we have runoffs in 2 elections, right? We have a runoff in the Senate, 24 candidates, pared down to 2. As Moon lovingly calls him, Bananas Foster for the Democrat side and State Treasurer John Kennedy on the Republican side. I think everybody's feeling pretty good about that, but we cannot let our guard down. We have got to get out and finish this job. But there's another race out there. Actually, there are 2 others. 4th Congressional District. I think Mike Johnson's going to do real well in that one. And we have one here in the Lafayette area. Now, they both have R's behind their names. But most people have a real question about one of those candidates. And this race has gotten downright dirty, nasty, very, very unsavory. The nastiness that's coming out. I've gotten emails that you would not believe from one side. And it's the Angel side. They're sending out the nastiest stuff. And that tells me they're very nervous. When you cannot get even 30%, when you have that kind of name recognition, when you're in public office now, have been in public office forever, and obviously want to be in public office forever. And now they're pulling out all the stops on Clay Higgins. I'll tell you, I was invited by a friend to a civic club meeting here in Lafayette, and Clay Higgins was the guest speaker. I was shocked. Here was a guy, a politician. The first thing he came out and said was, I am a flawed man. I've done all these things. I know that I did bad things. I am trying to atone for those sins. I've tried to turn my life around. I couldn't believe it. Wait, when have you ever heard a politician do that? I looked at my friend and I said, huh? Is this guy for real? And he walked in with a Bible in his hand, and then he came to that candidate forum. You were there, Brandon. Mm-hmm. He had the Bible with him at the time. And that always kind of sets me off because I'm very private about my religion and that kind of thing. But he went on and on the same way. Now, I'm going to take him at his word at this point in time. But the Angel people are just, it's just unbelievable what they're doing to this guy. So he's answered back, and he's answered back on a YouTube, I think, video. Mm-hmm. It's about 4 minutes long. He doesn't have any money to answer back, so I don't mind giving him some time to answer back. Do you mind, Brandon? Do you think Moon would mind if we gave him some time?
Moon's been telling me through the phone, make sure you have the video ready. Make sure you have it ready.
All right, let's go with it. Captain Clay
The vicious
Higgins.
lies and attacks against me have begun. Our mission, our movement, our winning campaign has interrupted the agenda of some very powerful, very wealthy men. Why are the career politicians and their insidious cabal attacking me relentlessly? Why are they having their henchmen and corrupt paid media hacks spread vicious lies and evil spirit in the effort to destroy me? Because we're winning, that's why. And when we win, when my voice is heard in the halls of power of Washington, D.C., your voice will be heard in the halls of power. And when that happens, their political machine, their power and corruption, their access to steal the people's treasure will come to an abrupt, immediate end. Bobby Jindal failed as a governor because he spent most of his time running for president. Scott Angel's failed run for governor last year was supported by the Bobby Jindal machine. Bobby Jindal's campaign team and Scott Angel's campaign team are virtually the same, all working day and night to get back into the governor's mansion. It's the same people. Check their campaign finance reports. But the Jindal-Angel machine failed last year. They lost the governor's mansion. So, the cabal of millionaire career politicians strategized. Jindal and Angel knew that it would be easier to defeat a Democrat in a 2019 run for governor. This is, of course, why Angel didn't endorse David Vitter last fall and not so quietly campaigned for John Bell, even allowing his campaign committee, Friends of Angel, to host a $5,000 a plate fundraiser for Edwards. The purpose of Angel's congressional campaign is to posture himself for another run at governor. I'm the only person who stands in the way of their insidious plan. Horrible lies and manufactured, deceitful attacks must be launched against me. Me, the working class guy, the veteran, the highly decorated street cop, the biker, the guy who represents the true voice of the American patriot. I must be stopped. I must be destroyed. Mr. Angel, Mr. Teeple, Governor Jindal, I've never said a disparaging word about you gentlemen. Your failures are not my fault. These attacks against me are unwarranted, sir. Your campaign is failing because of you, not because of me. Americans from sea to shining sea are sick and tired of your brand of politics, your dirt digging and mud slinging, your attempts to destroy and smear. All real patriots are done with career politicians like you. My campaign is succeeding because our message of unity, constitutional principles, conservative ideology, faith, love, and compassion for our fellow man is resonating. That's why I'm going to Washington. I carry the love and prayers and votes of working class American patriots across Louisiana who demand that their voice once again be heard in D.C. I will not participate in your journey through the mud and gutters of backroom deals and politics as normal. I will stay on my mission of hope and faith in the future of an America united.
Tell you what, it's powerful stuff. You know, the man has a charisma. He has a way of connecting with people. He doesn't have any money to answer back on Angel, but I think that pretty much does it. It's apparently he's not going to do the negative stuff on Angel that Angel is doing on him. It's really a shame. Now, Brandon, you got word that that St. Martin Republican Party called.
Yeah, someone
can we confirm that?
Yeah, well, someone called that said they were with the St. Martin Parish Republican Committee and said that they had voted not last night 9-5 in favor of throwing their support behind Clay Higgins over Scott Angel.
That's amazing. That's his home parish.
Mm-hmm.
If that's true,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have to run that down, and that's one person telling us. But I did get the word last night that the Lafayette Parish, I believe the Lafayette Parish Executive Committee has endorsed Clay Higgins. That's the word I got last night. So I don't think these negative attacks are really going to have that big an effect. They tried to do the same thing to Trump, right? Dredged up all of these people. They still want to keep it riled up. They still want to, keep the lawsuits. They want to keep him pinned down. But I got news for them. It didn't work during the campaign. I don't think it's going to work now. He's showing a great deal of aplomb and in choosing his cabinet, measured. And listen, don't believe a word the people up there say about him being in chaos. That is not chaos. You just take your time and get it right. But Captain Higgins is, it's going to be tough for him. I mean, there are a lot of forces, very strong powerful political forces aligned against him. So the only thing he has is you. If you like what he says, if you like Captain Higgins, it's up to you to get out there and vote for him. That's your choice. You know what your choice is. I'm not telling you how to vote. Nobody can tell you how to vote. That's your choice. But if you want to get in on the Moon Griffon show, I see we got the phones lining up, and people, please hang on. We got the phones warmed up for you. We want to hear from you. 844-766-6607 on the Moon Griffon show. We will be back. So, yeah, some people burn bridges. Some people build bridges. Very nice for Mr. Trump to be meeting with Mitt Romney, huh? Very nice. And he should say, Mitt, hi, Mitt, bye, Mitt.
Yeah.
Period.
Just dangle it in front of him and say, you know what? For what you said in the election, I've decided on somebody else.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, this is what really reassured me the other day when my little phone flashed a little message to me and it said, Governor Pence is throwing out all those insiders, all those lobbyists and consultants. They're going bye-bye. We were on the local show here on Wednesday morning, and it came through right about then. I said, yay, because that's exactly what Trump had said he would do. He wanted to take the consultants and the lobbyists out as much as he can. I mean, you can't do that totally because they're so much a part of the system, but as much as you can. So that was very refreshing. And, you know, I don't think anybody wants Mitt Romney to have any role in this administration. Not that I don't like Mitt Romney. I do, and I do think he would have been a darn sight better than Barack Obama as president. However, his behavior in this election, I'm sorry, you know, you just, you're not happy, suck it up. Don't say don't get out there and be one of those, never Trumpers and that sort of thing. You burn your bridges, it's kind of hard to rebuild them.
Especially after Trump endorsed him in 2012.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming out big time in favor.
And there was one other that I was so glad to see they bounced. Now, this is a political nerd like me talking, right? Mike Rogers has been on my personal hit list, since he pulled all that stuff, and I don't want to say what I would really say, when he was in Congress and managing one of those Benghazi committees, because people on his staff were very tight with Hillary Clinton, and it was so obvious when that came down. Now, why he resigned why he did not run for re-election, I don't know. But it was kind of curious, the whole situation right about then. When I heard that he was under consideration, oh no, I was bouncing off the walls. So when he got bounced, I was very happy to hear that he got bounced, because he didn't belong anywhere in a Trump administration.
What was your reaction to Dr. Ben Carson pulling his name out of consideration?
Well, I don't blame him. At his age and with the kind of lifestyle that he leads, he's got a very good life. His lovely wife, I got to spend some time with them when we brought them in several years ago, and they're just lovely, cultured, wonderful people. And I can see that he probably wouldn't want to work that hard at this stage of his life. I mean, I'm sure he can still have input and still be a very important voice.
You think the presidential race opened his eyes to a lot of things?
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he was pretty aware of a lot of things, I think, before then. Very brilliant man, just a brilliant man. But I think brilliant enough to know he doesn't want the pressure of every day in that job, Health and Human Services. I haven't heard about anybody for Surgeon General. That position I haven't seen yet. But anyway, and maybe that's what he's holding out for. Maybe that's what I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I'm trusting the Trump people. Donald Trump has run a lot of big businesses, and his first two picks, in my opinion, first of all, keeping Kellyanne on, and the brilliant job she did during the campaign, but then bringing in Reince Priebus. Reince Priebus, all during that campaign, was very measured, kept all the cats together, herding the crazy cats, every wing of the party flying off in every different direction. But he was measured. Every time he was interviewed, he never lost his cool, always measured. I was very impressed with him. I think he will do a heck of a job as chief of staff in the White House. And Steve Bannon is a brilliant guy. Now, he gets a bad rap all the time. But even Alan Dershowitz said, don't throw around that term racist and anti-Semite. He said those are terms reserved for real racists and real anti-Semites, and they lose their impact. And I agree with him totally. When you start throwing it around to anybody and everybody you don't like, just because you don't agree with them on policy. So anyway, he's a brilliant strategist. So is Kellyanne. I'm very encouraged about the picks. I think Reince Priebus is going to do a great job. Now we have Shoepick. Hey, Shoepick in Farmerville. Go ahead. You're on the Moon Griffon Show, Shoepick.
Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. Good to have you with us.
You too, thanks. But all these 2 points I want to make. First of all, these college kids protesting.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to give them puppies and coloring books. I think they need to get a phlebotomy, change their way of thinking, and let them think independently, become independent thinkers.
I think it's going to be hard for a lot of them. They've lived in a bubble all their lives, very protected environment,
That's it.
Yep.
And
and encouraged, by the way, encouraged by many times by their professors. Let's let's put it where it is. It's a shame, but it is true. Shoepick, what else you got?
Just want to ask Brandon, who won the football bet between him and Cornelius last night? How was the outcome of that?
Oh man, the Saints got down so bad last night. I was like, seriously. And then
they pulled it out.
Well, they almost pulled it out in the end, and then all of a sudden, just to get your hopes up, just to dash them in the end. So, yep, I hadn't heard from Cornelius yet, though. I hadn't heard from him yet. I'm waiting for him to call, and he gave us a prediction yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, thanks, man.
That's right. Thanks. That's right. They. All right, final score 23-20.
23-20. It was bad, Carol. You know why it was so bad? Because it wasn't that Carolina beat us. It was we beat ourselves.
Yeah, that's
all these turnovers.
Right, because they really pulled it out. I mean, they were so far down, then they pulled it out and couldn't maintain.
But in the end, all it comes to is another L in the loss column.
Yeah, no.
I know you're looking at I know you're being optimistic, Carol.
Okay,
but
Brandon.
It's just getting in the crunch time, Carol. If we want to make the playoffs, you got to win these kind of games.
Yeah, it's not one of those where everybody gets a trophy, right?
No, exactly. No.
Speaking of schools who do that kind of thing and really coddle the snowflakes. Mm-hmm. All right, I think we have some calls coming in also. But we also, like Shoepick said, talking about the kids who just can't get over it, But look at our president. I don't think he's gotten over it either, that his policies are not going to continue. It's amazing, this world tour that he's gone on. What hubris. Really, for those of you in Pierre Par, that means he's got a huge ego and he's just going all over the place and really just, this is like the farewell apology tour, right? He did the hello apology tour when he came into office, went all over the world and said, now we're different and the seas are going to go back down because I'm going to solve the global warming and everything's going to be great. The water's going to be calm, and I'm going to cure the globe of whatever problem it is. Nah, made it worse. But he seems to not be able to get over it. So he and the snowflakes, we have a little message for them. Brandon, do we have that little message ready to go? They just can't take no for an answer. So we have a special message from Megan Trainor. No.
My name is no. My sign is no. My number is
no. You gotta let it go. You better let it go. Election's over.
My name is no. My sign is
Get it?
no. My number is
no. You gotta let it go.
You need to let it go.
Somebody needs to play that for the snowflakes and Obama. Here we go. If you can pull that out.
Something tells me y'all were listening and working out to this in Zumba, and it just popped in your head as you were doing show prep for the show.
Well, yeah, we did that. It was the last song we did.
I knew it.
But we did it the other day on the local show because we were teasing one of the local guys because he was not happy with anything. He said no to all the amendments. We were talking about the amendments.
Oh,
and he was saying no
Warren.
to all the amendments. Yeah, Warren.
Yes.
So he pulled it out and he said no. I said, okay, we got a song for Warren, and they pulled it up. Very clever. But anyway, so that's our song for the snowflakes and for Obama. Get over it. And by the way, Mr. Obama, have you figured it out yet? Okay, you've been in office since 2009, right? Passed that horrible stimulus immediately when you got in. Passed the cash for clunkers. Passed Obamacare. All this really good stuff. And ever since then, you have been losing all over the country. When you look at the down ballot races, at the state offices that have been lost, first of all, in 2010, Citizens United gets passed, Tea Party rises up, and boom, you lose some more seats in Congress, in the Senate, and in the House. 2012 comes along, you lose the House completely. 2014, Senate completely. And, oh, by the way, all those governorships that you had once, what do we have? 38 governors that are Republican. Mm-hmm. State legislature, you got 242 state legislative seats that have been lost since he was president. So, Mr. President, we haven't been able to get you out, and we haven't been able to get those Republicans in Congress to grow a spine until now. Now they're happy. Now they got a leader, right? But your days are numbered.
I'm waiting for you to call out like
your days
Paul
are numbered.
Ryan. Wait.
Your policies are numbered. Obamacare. What do we say to Obamacare?
Oh.
Here we go. Obamacare.
Here we go. Back up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, before you speak.
Obamacare.
My name is
no.
My sign
Cash
is
for clunkers.
no. My
no.
number is
Stimulus.
no.
No.
You need to let it go.
You need to let it go. We're going to bounce it out. All right, that's enough.
My name is no.
We're just having too much fun on a Friday. Moon's going to call in and say, what is it with that song?
Oh, he's listening right now.
I know, he's probably going crazy. No. We say no to you, Mr. President. We say no to you, all you little protesters. But at least some of them are getting a job. They're advertising for them on Craigslist. I'm so happy for them. Maybe they can get a job to which their art history degree has qualified them eminently. All right, we got to take a break. You're with us on the Moon Griffon Show, 844-766-6667 on the Hicks and Hazard Hotline.
Lick your lips and swing your hips, girl. All you gotta say is my name is no. My sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Need to let it go.
Uh-huh. You packing up? Oh, well, you know what? Okay, Tigers, come on.
Oh, you got to beat
Tiger.
You got to beat Florida tomorrow.
Oh yeah, baby. Got to beat them.
After all the mocking that Florida did, nope, you got to beat them.
What do you think about Orgeron?
I like him. I mean, they're going to open up the coaching search, but I like him.
Boy, he's got a voice, huh?
Oh, I like it. He knows how to pepper the gumbo. That was my favorite line from Blindside when he came in and he was doing the recruiting of Michael Orr, and he said, "You know, I'd really pepper the gumbo." That was my favorite.
All right, Brandon. Brandon remembers things like that. Okay, we got people hanging on, and they've been hanging on a while. Sheila in Lafayette, thanks for being so patient. You are on the Moon Griffon Show. Welcome.
Okay, hi, Carol. And I would say no to the NEA and Common Core. And I want to thank you, Carol, for your beautiful voice of reason.
Oh, bless you.
I wanted to say I was privileged to meet with the late, great Phyllis Schlafly. And she was such a great voice in reference to education.
She was amazing.
And
she was amazing. Way ahead of her time in a lot of ways.
Yes, wonderful. And, and it was almost 25 years ago when we met, and we saw and recognized the social engineering and indoctrination that was taking place in the public schools at that time, in the school system.
Yeah.
And it's imperative that we do get back to teaching academics, civics, government, history
would be nice.
Yeah,
a people that lose their history lose everything. There's no more country. You lose your history, you're gone.
Exactly. And we're seeing the product of this through these poor little souls who are just out there writing, doing whatever. And I do want to say we do have wonderful teachers. We have wonderful schools, but a lot of them are handcuffed.
I agree with you. I agree with you there. I tell you what, I have a lot of empathy for teachers. Anybody on the front line in this society, in this world, you got to give them especially the elementary and middle school grades.
Absolutely. And like I said, before we can change anything, we have to address this our problem with the education system.
Totally agree.
And once again, I want to thank you so much again for your voice of reason.
Oh, bless your heart. I try. I'm not always successful. You too, Sheila. We have so much to be thankful for, don't we? Yeah, I think Sheila's gone. Yeah, we've got Jason in Shreveport. Jason, go ahead. You're on the Moon Griffon Show.
Well, I was calling about the Electoral College on December 19th. They cast their votes.
Yes.
And the Democrats are doing everything they can possible to try and sway the Electoral College votes, to talk about changing the process. But whenever you think about the media and what they asked Donald Trump, what his intentions are with Hillary Clinton and what type of criminal prosecution with all those people involved, he holds back and says she's a nice lady because he doesn't want to ruffle the feathers of the whiny Democrats and get them all crying and throwing hissy fits even worse in the streets between now and December 19th.
Well, Jason, I think it goes even beyond that because I think he does not want to rile up our outgoing president and some of his supporters. You know, I really think he's being very measured and is very smart because these are dangerous times for us right now. With Obama going around and doing the apology, the outgoing apology tour, just as he did the incoming apology tour, what hubris! I mean, it's just unbelievable to hear him speaking to the foreign leaders and telling them, "I think I did a great job, buddy. You think you did a great job? Unemployment is through the roof, and you're don't believe your approval ratings because there are a lot of people who just won't say what they really believe about him, just as they wouldn't say who they were voting for in the election. There are some people who will not answer that question because they don't want to have racism hung around their necks. And that's what they're afraid would happen if they said how they really feel about Barack Obama. So I think there's a lot of that going on where they're just holding back, and he's going out there saying, I did such a great job. Look at the numbers, buddy. $20 trillion in debt. We haven't solved a single problem. We've made them worse. In every way, shape, or form. So, it just galls me, actually. Actually, it amazes me. I kind of it takes a lot to get me galled, but it really amazes me that this guy can go out there and be so clueless about himself. It's just unbelievable.
One thing that's shocking to me is that the Democrats and the ones that are crying, they don't realize it. A lot of Republicans do know that the draft itself, the selective service process, it used to be only males. And since Obama's been in office, he's included women into the draft. And he's included LGBT or the gays, whatever you want to call them, into the selective service process. But with the word demitude, DHIMITUDE.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. That excluded all Muslims from Obamacare.
And it excluded them from the draft because of the lottery process.
Yeah.
It goes against their religious convictions. So they are exempt from the draft. And when you have Obama, when you think about Hillary, if she would have won.
Well, Hillary didn't want any borders, did she? I mean, to me, that was one of the things that really frightened people. Jason, we got the music playing. I'm up against a hard break. Thank you so much for calling in. Made some good points. And we'll be back with Cornelius. Oh, my man is calling in. Can't wait to talk to Cornelius on the Moon Griffon Show. Brandon's angling for a pay raise or something. He's playing all my music this morning. Bruno Mars. Love that, Bruno. Fine, so fine. Thank you.
I'm getting it all out the system today while Moon's away.
because you can't do it when Moon's back.
No.
Yeah, John Fogerty, Creedence Clearwater.
Moon's an old school guy.
I know he's an old school guy. I know. That's why people love him. All right, you got something about an accident on I-10?
Yes, we've got I-10 eastbound. This is about a couple of miles before the Henderson exit. As a matter of fact, Moon called us to let us know because he's heading to Baton Rouge. So I-10 eastbound, a couple of miles before you get to the Henderson exit, there's a van that's on fire. Now, he says it's been moved over to the side of the road, but obviously it still creates traffic in that area. So be
careful, be on the watch, and we can't make this gentleman wait any longer. He's been so patient. We know he's a patient kind of guy. Cornelius, my man, you still there? Cornelius.
Oh, here we go. Cornelius,
hey,
you there?
Cornelius.
Hello.
Now we got you.
Hello. Oh, Brandon, he ought to be happy the Saints lost yesterday.
I'm not happy. I'm a diehard Saints fan. I was sad last night.
Why would he be happy?
No, we always joke about the Saints and Louisiana Tech and stuff, but that's Big Bad Brand, the handler, and of course, Bernie Ross, the big bad balls there. The big bad balls.
How you been?
But look, now Walker's all right?
Oh, Walker's good.
No, there was a school event that they went to.
Okay,
it was a good thing.
Okay, I got you now.
Yeah, really
but
good.
Yeah, we were celebrating up here too, Big Brand and Big Bernie, because of course our man Donald Trump won in Penn, so we had a little celebration here in Alexandria, and we're going to try to get old Clay Higgins in. We're going to support him too.
Yep. That's what I hear. I hear people are coming out strong for Captain Clay. You know,
we need him in there because Scott Angel's not going to do nothing for us.
Well, and this is what I tell people who look at all the dirt they're throwing at him.
Yeah,
I say, if he makes a mistake, everybody's going to be keeping an eye on him. everything he does, every step he takes, every breath he makes, every
move he makes,
every vow he breaks. We'll be watching him, and so we know that people are going to keep an eye on him, right? You got an insider in there, and boy, oh boy, it's hard to get him out, huh? So I think that's why a lot of people. That's why Trump won, and I think that's why Captain Higgins has a very good chance of winning.
Yeah, well, y'all need to put him over the top because y'all are down and south. All we can do is just pray for y'all. And stuff. Can't
there you go, Cornelius. There you go. All right, thank you so much, Cornelius.
Thank y'all, and God bless y'all. Y'all have a nice
and you
weekend.
too, my friend.
Cornelius.
Take care. All right, we've got Mason hanging on. Mason's calling in from Eunice, Big Eunice. Go ahead, Mason. You're on the Moon Griffon Show.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Carol?
Good.
All right, so the first thing, I heard a topic about a woman that was previously just on the show, and it was about the teachers and stuff. Well, you know, I go to LSUE. I travel from Lafayette to LSUE. Kind of a hectic trip, but the thing is, you know, I have a history teacher who's a pretty hard liberal, and I actually had two. One's my English teacher and my history teacher, and it's kind of annoying to hear, you know, their side and their beliefs, and so I try my hardest to kind of like hold my tongue, you know, but I guess the way I could express myself was through writing an essay, and my English teacher had gave us any topic that we wanted, and that any topic for me was choosing to attack the news industry, you know, for like CNN and ABC and all the big name news.
Yeah, mainstream, as we call them, the mainstream media.
Yeah,
but they're not much. They're not mainstream anymore, are they? I think the election proved that they're really out there.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. They're ducking their tails and running. But
so what happened?
Basically it sparked me, you know, because my history teacher kept shoving down our throats in our class, you know, his beliefs on the politics, and he was talking about how Hillary Clinton is a much better candidate, and how Trump does this and how Trump does that. And I'm just thinking to myself, you know, Trump is a pretty solid guy, and you know, to hear him, and if he took the time to actually listen to Trump, you know, he might actually understand that he cares for our time. He cares for the working class.
Mason, reality must not intrude on our core beliefs, our deeply held beliefs. We must not let reality intrude in any way, shape, or form. Now, that was your big mistake there, thinking that you could bring reality into that situation. I think your history prof is probably very steeped in that liberal mythology, you know, and so that's really hard. It causes what psychiatrists call a fugue state. Cognitive dissonance kicks in, and then they really get totally disoriented and kind of cuckoo. And that's what you're seeing in these protests. They just go cuckoo because they can't deal with the reality. Mason, you made some great points. Thank you so much. I hope you passed that class. Maybe it would be wise to suppress. Suppress just a little bit. Okay, you too. Thanks for calling. Jeff. Jeff.
You say cuckoo, Moon says.
You were ready with that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Jeff and Alec. Go ahead. Jeff wants to talk about the Electoral College.
Good morning, Carol. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, you too.
All this bunch of liberal nut jobs that wants
now
to get out here.
Be nice.
Hollering Hillary won the popular vote. Hillary won the popular vote. If they would get over their severe case of cranial rectitis and calculate all the votes from Trump and the other 31 flavors and compare them to Hillary, she lost bad.
Yeah, she did. Hello, Jeff, you there?
Hello?
Yeah, you still there? Go ahead. Okay. I was waiting to hear the rest of that.
I was trying to figure out where we dropped off at.
Yeah, I know. Well, Brandon was talking to somebody else at the time, so I wasn't sure if you had hung up or what. But anyway, Jeff, let me tell you something. They don't like the Electoral College now because it didn't go in their favor. If you look at exactly, as many people have pointed out, Rush and Sean and everybody else, the exact number of votes that she got, all of them came out of California. Now, if you do away with the Electoral College, where do you think people are going to campaign? California,
In California,
New York, Chicago, just in the big population centers where all they need is those votes. And the rest of us are we're just flyover country here. We don't mean anything. We don't have anything to add to the process. The founders, let us give them kudos. The founders were brilliant. And if you listen and look at any of the original debates from the Constitutional Convention way back when, you will learn that they considered all of these things. They had come from a monarch who controlled everything. They understood how to put the limits. The Constitution was always about the limitation of power, which our current president has lamented on many occasions, not to mention at least one or two Supreme Court justices. But that was the brilliance of the founders. They had separation of powers. They had the power flows from the people to the states to the federal government. Not the other way around, my friends, not the other way around. So anyway, we do away with any portion of that. And look, I've heard people tweak it. I've toyed with the idea on occasion, but it doesn't make any sense because then you get back to this. You open that door and you are just letting the floodgate in. Then you go, for the same reason that we have a constitutional republic and not a pure democracy. The founders understood that would not work either. So they got the best of all possible worlds, and that's what we have. And so, anyway, originally the senators were appointed. They were not elected.
That's true.
Yep. So anyway, we have tweaked a few things, but the basics we need to keep, and we need to keep that Electoral College. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Jeff. Thanks for the conversation. We got Josh hanging on in Lafayette. Josh, if you can be patient, we'll get to you right after the break. On the Moon Griffon Show, 844-766-6607 on the Hickson Has It hotline. Stay with us. We'll be watching you. We'll be watching you. We'll be watching. We'll be watching. Oh, yeah. We're going to be watching everybody. We have risen up. The silent majority is silent no longer. We're going to hold some people's feet to the fire. All those promises that were made, we want to see them. Maybe not totally the way they were promised, but we want to see those promises fulfilled because we're tired of the slackers. We're tired of the slackers. We want to see people get back to work. We want to see the system work again the way it usually does, the way it has. Hardworking people. We've talked about this before. That whole trickle down economics. They laid that at the foot of Art Laffer when he was the economics advisor to President Reagan. Laffer later said, I really didn't say that trickle down stuff, but I think that it has some merit because you talk about. I've talked about this before. Old fat cat guy. Fat cat gets into his private plane, right? Well, he bought that private plane from somebody, right? It had to be built by somebody, so there were people working on the line building the private plane. It has to be piloted. It has to be managed. It has to be maybe it's taking him to a resort where a lot of people work. Waiters and waitresses and housekeepers and maybe some people who repair the place. So a lot of builders to build the place. So Fat Cat. Maybe he bought some cigars on the way too. The cigar makers did well, and Fat Cat probably gave out a lot of tips when he went out to eat as well. So if you want to talk about trickle down in those terms, yeah, it does help. When the wealthy do well, they usually share the wealth. When they can build their businesses, they usually employ more people. So there's something to be said. A little bit of trickle down never hurt anybody. In fact, a lot of trickle down probably helped a lot of people. I saw a little story that I absolutely loved. And this is a message for all those folks who still can't get over the election, the snowflakes, the millennials. This guy's put something out on the internet, and it reminded me of my little story about the fat cat. So he said a guy looked at his Corvette the other day and said he wondered how many people could have been fed for the money that this guy's sports car cost. So the guy told him, well, I'm not sure, but it fed a lot of families in Bowling Green, Kentucky who built the car. It fed the people who make the tires. It fed the people who made the components that went into the car. It fed the people in the copper mines who mined the copper for the wires. and also the people in Decatur, Illinois, at Caterpillar who make the trucks that haul the copper ore. Then it fed the trucking people who hauled it from the plant to the dealer. And, of course, the people working at the dealership, it fed them as well, and their families. But, gee, it's hard to tell how many people it fed, but I think it fed quite a few. And the guy finally wraps up and says, that's the difference between capitalism and the welfare mentality. When you buy something, you put money in people's pockets. You give them dignity in exchange for their skills. When you give something for nothing, you rob them of that dignity and self-worth. Capitalism is freely giving your money in exchange for something of value. We know what the opposite is. Socialism, big government, takes your money against your will and shoves something down your throat that you never asked for and never wanted. Yeah, capitalism's a problem, except for all the other systems. It's the best. We've got Norman in Poche. No, Josh is first? Or no?
Oh, we got Josh waiting for a while.
Oh, Josh, come on, Josh. Josh in Lafayette. You're on the moon.
How you doing?
You're on the Moon Griffon show. Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I know this is a little off topic, but I was thinking about the TOPS program and how we, obviously we can't fund it 100% because we have all this other handout to fund. And there's what I think is a pretty simple solution is, anytime you give someone something for free, they do it because it's there. I have a feeling, I think every child should have an opportunity to go to college, but not everyone is cut out for education past high school. It's just a fact. I'm thinking the TOPS program, instead of just automatically giving all this tuition and money to people to go try, see if they like college, because a lot of people are trying college because it's free at that point. For the first 2 years, the state should set up, they say, yes, we'll pay it, but they set it up as a state-funded loan that you don't have to pay for. Now, if you hit your junior year, then all your loans are forgiven, and you continue to go to school till you graduate. Because by your junior year, you're pretty much going to know if you're going to be staying in school or not. And if you decide, well, you know what, I just didn't want to go, then there would be some type of repayment for the tuition that you kind of wasted. And I don't know if that would be the right thing to do, but I mean,
we have a community college system if they want to go to community college. Listen, you know how I feel about the TOPS program? It's not a guarantee, and I don't think I know I get people really upset about that because there are a lot of people who count on it. But there are so many scholarship programs, grants, any number of ways you can work your way through, as I did, and it took me a while to get through. But I think TOPS, I really do not like the idea. I don't like TOPS. I'm sorry.
No,
I think you don't
either.
value something you don't work for. And if it's too easy.
That's the point. I paid for my college through the military. I spent 12 years in, and I used the GI Bill.
Thank you for your service too,
well,
Josh. Thank you.
I thank you. But it's I had skin in the game, if you want to say it that way.
Exactly.
If I failed, it wasn't on the back of anybody but me. And like I said, when you give somebody something, there's no value to it anymore. Just like any of the other entitlement programs that we give.
Exactly. So and we're getting to a point where we can't afford them anymore. So we really have to make a choice. That's what adults do. When you have a budget crunch, you make a choice, right?
Well, I honestly think with this election that we actually did make that choice.
Yeah, we sure did. I'm happy
about that. We need to
make
sure it keeps on going.
All right, Josh, thanks for calling. We got my good buddy. I actually got to meet Norman from Poche Bridge last night. He was at that little party. Norman, go ahead. You're on the Moon Griffon show.
Yeah, I certainly was. And I was thinking of something to talk to you about. And my president gave it to me right there. Protesters. As far as I can see, in Louisiana, you cannot wear a mask on any day except Mardi Gras. If I was to show up at a protest with one of them Guy Fawkes masks and started smashing somebody's property, the first place when I showed up with the mask ought to be hauled off in the paddy wagon. That would solve that. My other thing with protesting is, if I get on an airplane and I annoy the flight attendant to a sufficient degree, I will be removed for interfering with a flight crew, interfering with federal people on their job.
Wow.
If I go block the interstate, I'm interfering with interstate commerce. I should be removed from the get-go. And the third thing is, if I want to go have a parade, I'll go talk to the city and I get a permit.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Here we go. Oh, by the way.
Oh, by the way, what?
Yes. I stopped to get a bottle of water one day at a convenience store, and I realized that Yingling beer is now available over here, and it might be a reminder of your Miss Beth Youth.
Who is that?
Yingling.
Oh, yes.
Yingling beer from Pennsylvania.
Jay Walker loves him some Yingling as well.
Yingling. No. My dad's beer was Rolling Rock.
From
Arnie Palmer country.
Well, I'll tell you what, I would prefer, I've had both of them. I like Yingling better. Of course, I don't drink very many. I only had 2 margaritas the other night because today's a work day. and let me tell you, before I hang up, and I know time's running short, one day I'm going to tell you a story, but it has to be told off the air.
Go ahead. Oh,
no.
You said you have to call it. Yeah, okay, listen.
Okay,
all right. Never mind, okay. Norman. Thank you for calling in.
All right.
Whoa, we almost got in trouble there. All right, we'll have to talk later, Norman. All right, we got another call coming in. Oh, God, where's the time gone? There was one thing I wanted to share with you all, and I just don't think we're going to have time because we have one more phone call coming in, and but I'm going to refer you to a great article on the American Thinker website. It's called "I See Dead People and They're the Liberal Media." It's by Deborah Tyler, and it was posted, I think, yesterday. I believe it was posted yesterday on the American Thinker. You remember that movie, The Sixth Sense, Brandon? You remember that one? That was the line spoken by that kid. You know,
I see dead people.
Yeah, I see dead people. Right. Okay, and he was talking to Bruce Willis was the psychologist, right? And the psychologist was trying to help the kid because, as a trained professional, Dr. Crow believed the child was, of course, delusional. But there was the problem. The kid wasn't delusional. He was dead. So Deborah Tyler says, the media, they don't know they're dead yet, but they're dead. And we're seeing the demise of the media, the mainstream media right now with the election of Donald Trump. He took it to him. He defined them as one of his opponents, and look what happened there. Boy, it's been great to be with you this morning. You guys have been great. It's been great fun. Have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, and Moon will be back on Monday. Take care. Go Saints, go Tigers, go Cajuns, go everybody.